I'm your host, Corey Little, and today I will be providing you with coverage of the new Olympic event, cage stitching. This event is brought to you by Claudia K. Allen's screening tool, the Allen Cognitive Level Screen, or the ACLS-5. Let's take a closer look. We are here in the big locker room at Allen Stadium. As our athletes prepare for today's match, let me tell you a little bit about the Allen Cognitive Level Screen and what these individuals are up against. This activity-based screen consists of learning 3 visual motor tasks by stitching leather and a string of leather lace. According to the rule book, completion of these 3 stitches requires the person to attend to, understand, and use sensory and motor cues from the leather, lace, and needles, as well as verbal and demonstrated instructions and cues from the administrator as stitching tasks increase in complexity. The purpose of this screen is to obtain a quick measure of global cognitive processing capabilities, learning potential, and performance, and detect unrecognized or suspected problems related to functional cognition, as well as estimate the severity of these problems. The construct being measured incorporates client factors, activity demands, and performance skills. This screen is intended to be used with other tools to guide occupational-based intervention, as well as the level of activity demands, performance skills, and occupations based on the OT practice framework. The intended population of this screening tool was originally used with adults who have psychiatric disorders or dementia. It is recommended for populations whose functional behavior shows disruption in global cognitive processing, as described by the Cognitive Disabilities Model. Application of this screening tool has also been studied with adolescents with psychiatric problems, as well as adults who have experienced a TBI or CVA. With sampling from these various populations, the ACLS is highly standardized, with exact phrases and cues the administrator must use while giving the assessment. The purpose of this assessment is to assign a level of cognitive function, rather than define what is normal and abnormal cognition. Therefore, there is no normative data. The ACLS is administered by first having the occupational therapist give verbal directions and demonstrate how to complete the running stitch, the whip stitch, and the single cordovan stitch. The OT provides specific cues from the manual to direct the client in order to complete the stitches correctly. The cues are graded to determine the level of contextual support that allows for optimal performance on the leather lacing task. This helps the therapist to determine when and how to intervene during the assessment or to stop the test. The score is based on the therapist's observation of the person's patterns of behavior and performance up to the point of completing the 3 stitching tasks. The more difficult the stitch and task that is correctly completed, the higher the score. The scores are broken down with specific levels of supervision that may be needed to function in daily life. Scores range from a low of 3.0 to a high of 5.8. If you're at a cognitive level below 3, you would not be able to participate. A score of 5.8 means you are able to function independently, and a score less than 5.8 indicates that you will likely need or benefit from some type of assistance in daily living tasks. Now, let's check out today's highlights. There you have it, folks. The Allen Cognitive Level Screen is both reliable and valid. In studies investigating the consistency of scores between different raters, research found moderate to high correlations for inter-rater reliability in studies using the ACLS, and multiple research studies using various versions of the ACLS support the relationship between cognitive levels as described in the Cognitive Disabilities Model and occupational performance. Researchers have described positive correlation between the ACLS scores and scores for measures of basic and instrumental activities of daily living. The strengths of this assessment is that it is cheap, portable, and easy to administer. All you need is a 4x5 piece of leather, a large sewing needle, and a piece of leather lace in addition to the ACLS manual. And it can be administered in only 20 minutes. This assessment also comes in a larger form, the LACLS, to accommodate those with vision or hand functioning problems. As far as limitations, while leather lacing scores may seem to reflect the abilities of an individual at a given time, No single score is ever an accurate view of abilities 100% of the time. The ACLS can also be affected by test-retest learning, as well as prior experiences with these stitches. Therefore, the test scores may be skewed. Thanks again for joining us and have a great day, Cohort A.
DJ Khaled! Hey! Yeah!